Hi, it's Christian from Smart Homes. I'm going to do a fairly short video on heating. Um, Now, the main thing with making just one video with heating is that actually many projects heating can be controlled and set up in a very different way. Um, this video is probably aimed more at people that have a standard boiler, gas boiler, like this project at the Smart 27, which our show space has. Um, the basic way that you control the zones themselves are kind of the same, but there are a lot more elements. For example, if you had ground source, if you've got solar, other things that we can integrate. This video might not really cover everything, but the basic control of your room stats, it will, which is probably the bit that you really want to know anyway. So I'm on my central tab at the moment. In my central tab, I'm actually showing here the boiler, and the boiler is off. So there's no call for heat right now, basically. Now, categories is one way we can navigate to the climate or heating. We can label the category as you please. Interface settings, maybe you don't want to call it climate, we could call it heating. It is mainly heating in this house. Climate might refer to if you had heating and cooling, but I'm happy with it being called climate. We can either navigate through the categories or rooms if you want to look at a specific room. So for example, we want to see the dining room, then we can navigate to dining room. Usually when we're looking at heating, it is easiest just to go to categories, to your climate, and you can kind of see an overview of all the different zones in your house. So here we can see the temperature. The temperatures of each room. This is showing the actual temperature in each zone at present. So it's a very hot day. So naturally all the rooms are very warm, and hence why there is no demand. There is no cooling in this house, and it generally does struggle to get passively cooled because of its location. But we can click on any of the tiles. So choose kitchen. We can see that currently it's 21.9 degrees. And on this side, it's showing you the comfort temperature. Comfort temperature is the part of the schedule that's shown here in green. This room is actually underfloor heating, so we have a floor temperature shown here, which is more for information than anything. The room isn't, the set point isn't controlling the floor, it's controlling the actual air temperature of the room in this location. We can alter, we do that on project to project, and normally we would go with air temperature. In your tile for each room, so you can see the current temperature and the temperature that it's set for comfort. If you click on temperatures, you can see your set comfort temperature, which you can edit. You can either turn it up or down. And as you can see, I'll show you that. At the moment, eco is 17. If I turn this down to 19, eco is now 16. The offset will always follow each other. You can change the offset here. So we've got 3 degrees, 3.5 degrees. Maybe you want it only 2 degrees, and it'll tell you here what that's then going to change it to. So I have my offset as 3 degrees. So when the house isn't in comfort, it will basically allow each zone to drop 3 degrees into eco. Underfloor heating tends to work better pretty much on most of the time, and your eco not really being much more than, let's say, 3 degrees below it, because ideally you don't want to let your slab of concrete get too cold, because it's going to take too long, far too much energy to get back your room back to a comfort temperature. We've got frost protection set here at 10 degrees. By default it's normally 5, again depending on project to project where we set that. if it was to go below that, the heating would kick in, regardless to if the eco temperature was lower. In this sense, overheat protection set at 28. Again, some places we've had to set it higher depending on how much glass is and if the passive cooling aspect of the project isn't great. Showing here that there is no cooling. There's the little cooling symbol, but nothing there. We can do set by schedule, which is what we're running on, or we can do set by fixed point. As you can see, when it's on fixed point, you set a temperature and it's just that temperature all the time. And we're now showing that it's the fixed set point which we can adjust. Target temperature, there is no, you just fix that set point to what you want it to be in the temperatures. Usually we'd recommend running the heating by schedule, or automatic, as this house has been set so each zone can be reset, because we have lots of different users there, so you might find yours says automatic here. We can, not all our projects by default would show you a graph because it records a lot of data to the SD card, but you can go back in time and see, you know, what the room did on certain dates. And again, a history of what's been going on in that function block. In short, that really is all there is to the block. There's the schedule itself, which we can set just like any kind of schedule. You would click on the schedule area. So on Monday, I've just clicked in this green spot here. That's comfort temperature. Maybe you might want it to be off, a fixed set point, or the eco, and then you'd say we've got all the days of the week. You can then say when you want that to start and finish. You just click tick when you're finished, and then it would repopulate this chart based on what you said. We can see here that when we're in away mode, the house is basically just set to frost protection, so 10 degrees. Again, you could change that, but we want it in off when we're in away. It could be off during public holidays, all these different operating modes, but the most obvious one is you're away, the house is, the heating's basically turned off when it's just set to 10 degrees, basically kicking at frost protection. And that is the basic controls for each zone. You can click on the three dots like you can on most tiles and change your interface settings. You can give them more star ratings, you can display in favourite, and again, if you wanted to, you could change the description. So, boiler. Now, the boiler is the overall control of the zones that are controlled by the boiler. You'll see here that there are zones that aren't in there. That's because the underfloor heating is electric and isn't controlled by the boiler in the kitchen and the bathroom. So the zones that are controlled by the boiler, the wet system in this house, are shown here. And at the moment, it's insufficient demand for heating or cooling, so the boiler is off. This is a really good place to come and see which rooms or areas are basically making the boiler come on, because if the living room was to drop below the comfort temperature, it would create a new in-demand area and you would be able to see that that zone was calling for heat. From here you can go to each of those the schedule blocks that we've been looking at. You can quickly do an override, temperature adjust from here, and there's the settings overall for the boiler, and that's about it really. It's quite a basic system here with the gas boiler. I will do some other videos on the more complex systems that might integrate other aspects to the heating system.